I'm David Malloy with the Nashville Hootenanny, and this is part of our Inner Circle series. I'm here with my very dear friend Buck Williams, legendary agent, manager at his beautiful home over here in North Carolina, and we're going to talk today about an agent, manager, and exactly what that means, and what he does. So Buck, let's see. First of all, let me explain who you are, so they'll know and why they should listen to you. Okay. All right. Buck currently is the owner of the Progressive Global Agency and Progressive Global Artists. He currently works with Pretty Lights, Widespread Panic, REM, and Chuck Leavell. And many more. Go on this company.
40 more.
Historically, Buck has worked with the Police, the Go-Go's, the Bangles, Joan Jett, Flock of Seagulls, the whole new wave movement of the 80s. Basically, Buck was in the middle of it. He is also the head of Widespread Records, and they have had over 6 million downloads of their live shows. Congratulations.
I'm very proud of that. Very proud of that.
And also, I'd like to explain that Buck has been with several of his bands, REM and Widespread, for umpteen years, and has also become very close friends with them in the process too. So, Buck, let's get started. First of all, what is it that you do?
Well, I'd like to say that a lot of people ask what I do for a living, and I say, well, I'm a negotiator. That's what I do. And we as agents, we procure live engagements for artists. We do it in a very different way. And as a manager, I negotiate every kind of deal that the artist needs at that particular time. And we are basically in the live business. We're not in the record business. We find and match artists with artists, artists with venues, artists with festivals, and try to build them through the visual happening of building a fan of the artist, not a fan of what the artists play necessarily, or a fan of a song, but a fan of an artist. And that's what we do. We are negotiators.
Negotiators. Okay. So you basically, from the beginning of a tour to the venues that the artists would play in, to their travel, pretty much are you involved through the whole process?
We don't we do not get involved in the daily travel. We're obviously involved in the travel, and that we have to set a date so that one can travel from place to place and have enough energy to play it. So we try not to send people on 600-mile trips. But we do not book hotel rooms. Each artist has a staff that does that for them themselves. They have a tour manager, they have a travel agent. But we do get in with where they're going to play, what time they're going to play, how much they're going to play for, what the ticket price is going to be, what size the venue is going to be. Of course, that is where they're going to play. But there are a lot of venues that you can set up with a lot of different sizes and configurations. So that's what we decide is where they're going to be, on what night of the week, in what city. What is a hot city on Saturday night, what is a hot city on Tuesday night. And believe it or not, there's a big difference. You don't want to be in New York City on Saturday night in the summer, and you don't necessarily want to be, whereas in Madison, Wisconsin, Tuesday night's a great night. And you just have to know these little things to find out where you're going to play at one time. But everybody says, well, let's be in New York on Saturday night. Everybody to be there. Well, not in the summer. Everybody's out on Long Island, Fire Island, or wherever they're going.
Now, you were talking about managers and travel and all those things, and that really is currently successful acts who can have that organization put together. A lot of our audience that'll be watching this video want to become one of those successful acts.
That's correct.
So
yes.
They would not have all those people in place to help them. So that would put them down to like local venues.
Even when you play a local venue, you have to have a place to stay. So someone has to book that. Right?
Okay.
So, at that time, whether it be your parents or someone has to make those reservations for you. It's not going to be your booking agent. And in some cases, we do go to the venues, to the club, or to the festival if you're fortunate enough. And there are lots and lots of festivals that play a lot of young, up and up-and-coming, not yet broken talent that they recognize the talent and will be happy to put them on a show. And you can go to those promoters and say, do you have a connection? Do you have a deal? Does your festival have a deal with a particular venue? Bonnaroo has deals with all the places in Manchester. They have to have deals because they have to put up the bands. But you can go to the venues, owners or bookers or promoters and say, help me. They'll help you. They'll give you some guidance.
Okay.
But us as agents, we can just connect these. We're a conduit. We'll say, okay, Mom, you call this place. And
So like my side of the profession, the writing and production, I depend on the discovery of new talent. That would be the same for you too, then?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Particularly with my company, we're a boutique agency, and we have to recognize things very early on. The police, going way back hundreds of years, we had before they ever had a record deal. REM before they ever had a record deal. The Bangles before they ever had a record deal. Widespread Panic before they had a record deal. Pretty Light still really doesn't have a record deal, doesn't want a record deal. All he wants is his network, his social network, puts out his tunes, does them, gives them away, and that promotes his shows.
Social network, okay, because that's where this is going to be viewed on the Nashville Hootenanny site.
Absolutely.
And that's a brand new phenomenon, I guess, right?
It's not as brand new as it is growing incredibly quickly. We've had the internet for a while, and you have Twitter popping up. You have all the different ways of communicating popping up weekly. Some make it and some don't. But in today's market, you cannot live or survive without it. You have to have it and depend on it. And for a band like Widespread Panic, who has been around for now 25 years, started off the traditional record company.
There's a boat going by there, sorry.
No fish. But Widespread Panic, they were never a big record seller, but they built their fan base through the social networks, through the internet. Sign up for our fan club, sign up, and they would respond through their fan club and their Facebook, keeping people in touch with what they're doing.
So, well, first of all, I want to go back. All those artists didn't have deals when you met them. All those huge names you just had.
No.
So you definitely have been a talent scout, just like a record label.
Well, you have to
like
recognize,
that, so.
yes, but you have to realize the commercial aspects of what it is, and try to connect with what people would like to have, and then still be connected to it. As an agent, which I think separates us from a lot of the different agents, we somewhat get really tied up with the artist, and we want to know exactly what their needs and what their wants are, because not everybody wants to be the same star. They have different aspirations of how they want to be perceived and received. So we try to be an extension of that artist and say, okay, you want to do this, you want to do this, you want to do this, and here's the way we want to do that. The risky ways or safe ways. Some people say, okay, let's go get a sponsor, let's go get a publishing deal, let's go get that, this, that, and the other, and get you a lot of money up front, and that'll feed your way into prosperity. Well, that works for some people, that does not work for other people. Some people don't want to be tied up with sponsors, they want to own their own publishing, and they want to look at it a whole different way. And so we say, okay, we can do it for you the way you want it done, if we believe that the way you want it done is a good way, and that is not, there is no formula in it necessarily. It's getting in at that time and following through at that time with that artist. So,
well, you mentioned that, say with Pretty Lights, that they're not out pursuing a major record deal.
No.
Wait, so I know a lot of artists are wondering. A lot of artists are wondering how important are the record labels or major labels. Does that depend on the style of music that you're doing?
It can be the most important aspect of your life, or it could be not important at all. And this is a prime example. You take Pretty Lights, or you take a lot of the acts within that genre of music right now. They are producing and putting out their own product through their own networks, and building massive, massive fan bases. This is something that a record company couldn't do, and they couldn't do it because this music is taking a sample from here and a sample from there and a sample from somewhere else, putting it together, using your own style, using your own remixes, your own backbeats, and putting it together. And they would not be interested in going and doing the licensing here and this, that, and the other, and then selling it. If you're giving it away, you don't have to pay all these usage until until later on, until you actually go and start selling it. Like, mostly they give away MP3s, they get a little bit larger, then they start selling the flags.
Do you see, in the future, do you see live performance? I mean, it has always been important, but do you see that continuing to be even maybe more important?
Oh,
than it's ever
absolutely,
been?
now, absolutely now, because it's just networking. It's a social network. It's also a network between the artist and their fans, and that's what a concert is. It's communication between an artist and a fan. You know, I've always believed that to build an artist, you've got to be up close to them, give the fan an opportunity to have some goosebumps, to get really excited about you early on, and where they really believe in you as a person, you as an artist, and not necessarily every record that you sing, but they believe in your style and your communication, your ability to communicate and get on with them.
Does an agent do they come to your rehearsals? I mean, do they help critique your live show or anything like that, or just
no?
That's not the job, huh?
No, not at all. Not with us.
Uh-huh.
There's some that maybe do, but not with us. We're not trying to mold someone into something they're not. A Sting or Michael Stipe or Pretty Lights. These people are following their own gut and their own way. To be someone else that sells, can sell really well and be very successful. There's some people that have no artist input. They just take direction. This is what they do. They go off. They make a great living, and I'm not down on that at all. It's just a different way of doing it than the way we do it.
So you feel then that the organization should be built around the artist and their talent, not the artist molding to fit the organization.
Yeah.
Really?
To me, it's a higher risk, but it's a higher reward. We just don't do that. We don't mold you into create something. We want you to be what you are and do what you do, and take the shot, and we'll be behind you. We are in the live business. The labels are in the recording business, and they are very different. And we have to work with them. We have to have synergy with them. But we have different goals. Their goal is to sell a record,
right?
And our goal is to build an artist. And they're very different.
And a fan base that will return to when you come back and
whether or not you have
bring
a
friend with
them.
them.
Yeah. We want them. This is why it's widespread panic. When they don't have records out, they have people coming to see the show.
Right.
And that's what you want. Coming, whether or not you're going to have a pop record on the radio, which is becoming more and more difficult nowadays. Getting on the radio, and radio's gotten so much weaker now. Back in the early days when we had the new wave movements in the 80s, there was college media radio, which was huge. It's pretty much non-existent now. You had MTV, which was actually just playing clips of. It wasn't all these TV shows. It was just playing clips of really hip new music.
Right.
And that's not happening anymore. You had a lot of different avenues. Right now, you've got YouTube, and it's pretty much what the social network is.
Okay. When do you think a young artist should reach out to an agent? At what point?
Well, you can reach out, and you can reach out really, really early. An agent may say, like, I've seen some young artists that I really think are going to have the potential of making it, but they're not really ready to make it yet. And this is when I may contradict myself when I say, okay, maybe in a couple of years. The difference is, in a couple of years, I'm not going to be molding them. They're going to be molding themselves. They're going to be learning their own guitar, learning their own, feeling their own soul, finding their own direction. Whereas, record company would be molding for a couple of years.
Your job is not to fix. You're not coming in to say, I need to fix this
No.
as you as an artist. And
No.
That's their job.
Yeah, exactly.
And then all you want to do then is help them to take what their mission statement is, and then expand on that and grow that.
Exactly. Yeah.
That would be the deal.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's the artists that we generally go out and discover. We do have, and I have had, if you look in the 80s, when I've got 70, 80 gold and platinum records that I've been awarded over my lifetime. So obviously, I've been involved with some pretty hot. I mean, the Police had hot records, and Sting had great records. REM has sold over 80 million records, but REM did it on their terms, and that's just sort of the difference. They weren't given, say, okay, you do 2 songs that you write, and we'll go find 8 songs for you.
Right.
You know, and this is what we want you to be, and cut your hair, and you know.
And they did that. I mean, they came out of live performance and then grew into radio, but really live performance was as important or more important even than their records were.
Yeah.
The momentum of them as a great live performing band is what led up to them having the hits at radio.
Well, you know, it's like the Police were innovators in their time. Pretty Light is an innovator in its time. Widespread Panic somewhat. REM certainly. These are people who weren't going to be another somebody else. I'm not going to be, we're going to be the next Taylor Swift. You're going to be the next someone. They weren't. They were the next themselves. And they were creating their own world that other people wanted to follow. And that's kind of that's what's exciting to me.
That's Jack. You can't see him, but he's really cute, and he's down there below us.
Jack goes everywhere.
Can people find you? I mean, is there a website, or can they reach out to you?
Oh, absolutely. It's pgamusic.com. It's our website, and I'm Buck at pgamusic.com. And it's very easy. We actually listen and pay attention to new, young things, and of course the odds are still long that you are the one, but you know that when something comes to us,
you're there to check it out and listen.
We look at it, and we try to respond to everyone, and the only good and bad of that is when you ask us a question, we assume you're looking for the answer.
So be ready for the truth, right?
So we give you what we feel is the answer, or don't ask the question. And believe me, they're only opinions. We only offer opinions. They're our opinions.
That's right.
And it doesn't mean that it's not really there. It's just our opinion.
The Nashville Hootenanny is about trying to bring these straightforward answers out to these young artists and the truth. And sometimes it's not what you want to hear, but it might be better to hear it than chase something for several years that maybe you're just not going to get there. So, you know, I think.
And the Nashville Hootenanny, I must say, is one of the greatest up-and-coming things out there right now. It is so fun. I've been.
Thanks,
Dave invited me to all of them, and I've traveled and not made the last few, but I was there for the first 4 or so, and it's just such a great thing. It really is. Everybody should pay attention and check it out.
Buck, thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
All right.
And Jackie.
Ready, huh? Bring Jack up here. Let's see Jack real quick here, okay?
Now there's a star for
There's
you.
Jack.
There's a star.
He's a touring dog.
He's a rocker. He's a rocker. A rocker of soccer.
Thank you, Buck.
Okay.